Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as Scholar in Residence for UJ Federation of New York. We come to you each weekday morning, Monday through Friday, even the Monday of July 4th weekend, with a little bit of Torah, a little bit of blessing, and a real hope for togetherness. And so, I've missed you all. It is a strange thing to come to expect to see so many friends and then to not see you yet. So good morning, I hope that you're well. Arlene and Hetty, Stephen, it's great to see you. Hi Carol. Hi Jane. This is something really extraordinary that I've come to expect. I think today is the 75th broadcast of Weekday Torah. We need to think of a catchy name for whatever this is that we do. But to Stan, Boker Tov, hi Debbie, Penny, my friend, it's so good to see you. Hi Bernice, Susan, I really want to take the moment to say hi to everybody. David, Valerie, it's nice to be in the light with all of you. Hi Mark, hi Neshama, hi Andrea, Kim, yeah, new window, I'm glad you guys are noticing. I think I took to heart one of the phrases from Tanakh, Mishanem Makom, Mishanem Mazal. You change your location, you change your luck, and who knows? Who knows? I'm glad this is something that we get to share. It's strange that you notice my windows, but you know, we're in each other's lives in a new way. Let's enjoy that. Let's start with the bracha for learning, and I want to give a shout out to Sari Farrow, who works at UJA, helping us with all of our HR, and she brought my guitar down. I haven't been to my office in a very long time, but she brought it out to me. So it's an old guitar, but it's a new guitar. Stephen, I was thinking that exact line. I knew I could count on you. All right, everybody. Let's sing a bracha for learning. New parsha, new day. And we've got 58 friends with whom to share it. So good morning, everyone. Thank you, Bernice. I'm glad the guitar sounds good. I've missed this one for quite some time, and I'll just share that among the things that makes this guitar very special for me is my son gave me this beautiful guitar strap with all the Avengers on it, so it makes me smile. I get to play. I hope I don't owe royalties for showing that. Sherry Beckman, happy birthday. So good to be able to share that with you. This week's Torah portion is one of the ones that gives me pause before we get here, and I look forward to it because there's a lot of Torah coming from it, but it's also really dreadful. So I want to start with that framing. This Torah portion is called Pinchas, and in it there are a lot of small parts of the story. I'll be sharing some of that as the week unfolds. But Pinchas is a character that we heard about last week, and that's where I'd like us to begin. Pinchas is a Kohen, comes from the tribe of Levi, and is a descendant of Aaron the high priest. And he's a passionate leader, and you'll see where passion can overflow into what we would call violence and zealotry. It's a very complicated dynamic for us to face. Anna, wow, Boker Tov, back to Brazil. Gewalt. I had no idea that we were reaching that far. I knew we had Krakow, but Brazil, wow. Pinchas is part of the leadership of the Israelites, and that's great. It's a great thing. It's to be of service. It's amazing. Priests are not only elevated in their status, especially during the time of the Torah, but they're constrained in terms of their behaviors in very significant ways. They live in the center of the camp, even though eventually they will inherit no land. There are all sorts of things about this week's Parsha that are interesting, and Pinchas's context is an important place from which to begin. During the last few Parshiot, the last few Torah portions, there have been attempts over and over to attack the Israelite people. There have been rebellions from within the Israelite people. And at the end of last week's Parsha, Israelite men and Midianite women end up, cavorting is probably the polite way of saying it, but two people in particular, an Israelite man and a Midianite woman, end up acting inappropriately. I'll just tone it down a little bit. Right at the door to the Ohel Moed, the Holy of Holies is desecrated by people's acting immodestly and really tarnishing the heart and soul of the people's understanding of themselves. Everyone is wailing and mourning. This is the end of everything we hold dear. And Pinchas is enraged that someone would dare desecrate the idea. And he comes forward with a spear in his hand and he kills that man and that woman. And that's the way last week's Parsha ends. This week's Parsha is named for Pinchas. And I think it's important for us to pause and say, look at what was happening. There was a plague. Look at what stopped the plague. In fact, the plague stopped because of what Pinchas did, says the Torah. But for us to consider the lengths to which Pinchas was willing to go in order to fight for something he felt was true. He killed two people in order to fight for what he thought was true. Now, we are coming off of July 4th weekend, where in order for us to establish our freedom, our independence, we fought. 1776 was not just a glorious day from which enormous literature was generated, not only a celebration of the creativity of founding fathers of this country, but also massive amounts of bloodshed. And we are still reeling from the incomplete nature of that revolution. We have yet to aspire and live up to the real ideals of our country. And every day we keep on being reminded how far we are from those ideals becoming true. What I do want to say is that Pinchas's violent act for some is a model of how to behave. Because you believe something is true, you go get a spear, or in our case, in this country, a gun. Because I believe something is true, I'm willing to hurt someone else to achieve it. It's not okay. And in fact, Pinchas is not chosen as Moshe's leader, Moshe's successor. Many people believe, specifically because of what he did right here. He would have been the next Moshe, but he lost that right when he acted violently. So there is something really important about this moment in realizing that the model of the Torah and the violent zealotry of Pinchas is a cautionary tale for how we conduct ourselves today. In fact, I'll just share this because I find it to be the most important part of this week's Parsha. The Torah is written so carefully. If you've ever been involved in the writing of a Torah, every letter has to be just right. The lines are allowed to be so long, so distant from each other. And the letters have to be done exactly right. If a letter is blurred or broken or incomplete or miswritten, the whole Torah is not allowed to be used. Why am I sharing that? Because there are certain parts of the Torah where the letters look strange and they're meant to. One of those is in this week's Parsha. Pinchas, who acted so violently, is blessed in the Torah by God with something called Brit Shalom, a covenant of shalom, a covenant of peace. If you look closely at the word shalom that Pinchas is blessed with by God, it seems as a reward for what he did. The vav in the word shalom, the letter that makes the sound O, is broken in half. And in fact, even though if any other letter of the Torah were broken in half, the Torah would not be fit for use until the letter was fixed. In this case, the word shalom must be written with a broken vav. In order for the Torah to be kosher, we need to remember that Pinchas's peace was broken. And perhaps the blessing that God gives Pinchas in that moment is not to continue the violent zealotry, is not to see truth, a personal truth, even something you're passionate about, even something a community believes in, as something worth killing someone else over. Seeing the public welfare as the primary reason for leaders. And anyone who stokes violence is in the model of Pinchas. It is a broken piece at best. The Torah, that kind of Torah, is unusable, and it's short-lived, and it only hurts people. So perhaps God blesses Pinchas with a broken piece because he needs to learn his lesson. A covenant of a broken piece, who wants that? It happens to be that would be a step up, a step up from where so many of us feel we are as a world right now. A blessing of being humble even when you're passionate, of finding a way of speaking with each other and seeing change as healthy, but violence as unacceptable. My teacher, Rabbi Erwin Kula, says, when I believe I have more God than you, I'll go get a gun. I think we need to learn so deeply this lesson. Of course, I care about God. I care about the Jewish people. I care about my political commitments. Would I pick up a gun at you because of how fervent I am in my belief? God forbid. Breach shalom will only be whole when I would never pick up a weapon to achieve it. So I want to bless you so deeply with a week of reflection on how passionate you might be about your commitments, your beliefs, my commitments, and how to achieve them without hurting anybody. Can we make a new world happen? Can we bless each other with that kind of week, where we recognize that violence will lead to a broken vav? Just brokenness. Pinchas hopefully one day learned, but this week we find out that he hadn't learned yet, and so he wasn't chosen as a leader. May we be worthy of that choosing. May we choose rightly and be chosen in return for the good choices we make. So, let's sing our way into a week, everybody. It is good to see you again. I missed you very much. Boker Tov, everybody. See you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Have a beautiful day. Take care.